Hi, my name is Daniel Kitts. I'm the online editor of The Agenda with Steve Paikin, and today I'm joined by Annette Bergeron. She is the principal at Bergeron Consulting. She is the past president of the Professional Engineers of Ontario, and one of the reasons we're talking to her today is that she is one of the 25 top women of influence of 2014 as chosen by the organization Women of Influence. Annette Bergeron, thanks for joining us, and congratulations.
Thank you, Daniel.
Well, tell me about the award. I mean, what does the award mean for you and for other women engineers?
Well, the award is excellent because it draws attention to two things. So firstly, women in general. Women of Influence is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year.
Right.
And that's actually not a long time when you think about the accomplished women that we've had over the past century. So finally, we're drawing attention to women of influence. And then secondly, women in engineering. So, you said that you know a handful of women in engineering. Not that many people know how many women are in engineering. It's actually 20% of graduates across Canada, and actually only 10% of those go on to get licensed. So we haven't reached the parity that the professions of medicine and law have reached. They're both at 50% women. So we have to ask ourselves why. And I think what this award does is it draws attention to one of the ways that we can promote engineering to women or to young girls is to have role models. The other way would be to have a TV show. So I think TVO should launch a television show on women in engineering.
All right,
Because young girls can watch television and see doctors, and they can watch lawyers, they can watch women in prison, Orange is the New Black, they can watch female police officers, but they rarely get to see women performing in engineering, saving the world, because that's what we do.
Well, it's a good point because, obviously a lot of fields will continue to be male-dominated, but engineering traditionally, and it seems to this day, seems to be incredibly male-dominated,
Yes.
even more so than other fields. Obviously, we're still not where we need to be. I'm wondering, though, how have things changed, either improved or slid back since you started your career for women in engineering?
And it hasn't changed, sadly, since I graduated. So in my graduating year, we were still about 20% female engineering. So we have to ask ourselves why. And I think it's promoting engineering and making people aware of all the different facets of engineering. So what do you automatically think about when you think of engineering? First thing that pops into your head?
Probably a bridge.
A bridge, right? So how many young girls are going to be attracted to building bridges? Well, we see a lot of new toys out there where we're getting girls to work with their hands, and the Lego toys and the
Right.
scientist toys that are coming out. So those are small steps that will help. But did you know about tissue engineering? Do you know about biomedical engineering? Do you know that as an engineer you can make vaccines? There are all these ways that engineers help society and have an impact on humankind that I think would be attractive. So there's an article been out for the past month about salaries. And the top salaries, according to this survey, are in the professions of nursing and engineering. So my address to all the young women out there who may be considering engineering or nursing is think if you want to help humans, engineering is a way to help your fellow sisters and mankind.
It's interesting because actually I have an uncle who's has a degree in civil engineering and mechanical engineering. And but when I went to university, I was telling you before we started this interview that I did know some women that were studying engineering, and as I recall, all of them were studying chemical engineering, which they also refer to often as process engineering. And I'd never heard of chemical engineering. So that's obviously still a big issue, that women aren't aware that, people in general are not aware that engineering is more than building bridges and building gears and such stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, for example, biomedical or biomechanical engineering, you can actually work on prosthetics for the human body. So, in my community of Kingston, I'm on the board of Kingston General Hospital. We have lots of intersection between the faculties of engineering and medicine. For example, we have a human mobility research center where the engineers work together with physicians on building prosthetics and how does the body work mechanically. And that's fascinating, interesting work.
We've talked about how perception is a big issue here. I mean, obviously, women, as you've stated already, it's easier for women to see herself as a doctor, for example, or a lawyer, than an engineer. Apart from that aspect of the perception, is there any other major reason you think that women in engineering have had even more trouble progressing in terms of numbers than women in medicine and law and other such fields?
Are you talking about advancement in the career once you start,
or just the fact that there's a lower proportion,
Mm-hmm.
everything. There's a lower proportion of women engineers, first of all, compared to women doctors, for example. But also, I imagine, like in other fields, a lot of women, even that make it into the field, after a certain point, they don't advance further.
Mm-hmm. Right. And it's advice that probably applies to most women in their careers. But whenever you're part of a minority, so if you're amongst maybe 15% of the engineering cohort in your organization, you have to work hard to get noticed. So a lot of times we come out of university, and the university work ethic is put your head in a textbook, work hard, you'll get good grades, you'll graduate with a degree. You can't apply that same kind of work ethic in the workplace. You have to make sure that your work is noticed by both your bosses. You need to find a mentor. You need to find a sponsor. Those are very key. So if you can find a woman engineer to help you, but even a male engineer have helped me through my career. So that would be my advice. Make sure you get yourself noticed. Make sure you do good work that's going to get noticed.
Now, it's obviously great advice for women engineers. Is there any advice or suggestions you have for male engineers to help facilitate, obviously a growing cohort of women who are qualified to be engineers, make it as engineers and progress in the field?
So men naturally gravitate towards men when it comes to networking or social activities. So it might be the golf game. A lot of us play golf. So just make sure that you're very inclusive in your work environment or your after-work social activities, so that you're including everyone on your work team. You think, oh, well, it's only the guys that are going to be interested in this. We're going to go play laser tag or something. But think about, hey, I might be the best laser tag player out there, so bring me along. So that's how male engineers can help their female cohorts.
I see. Anything else that you think is important to mention on this topic?
And I think women have not been very good at self-promotion. So I think that's one of the advantages of this award, is it draws attention to women's accomplished careers, because there are studies out there that say we don't promote ourselves as well. So find ways to promote yourself. Don't feel like you're being vain. You really have to do that in your career, especially as an engineer. So I like to use social media to communicate, to talk, to reach out to engineers in the field. So I just recommend find ways to communicate with your network.
Fair enough. Well, Annette Bergeron, principal at Bergeron Consulting, and as I said, one of the top 25 women of influence of 2014. Thanks so much for taking the time to stop by and talk to me today. I appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, Daniel.